his cock humping at a steadier pace now. His balls slapped. Spanked. I came home from work tonight, which, by the way, caught on fire. No shit. And I was wondering, what series can I ruin for both the audience and myself? And I got to thinking, one that I don't think of very often, Star Fox. So today we're reading When It's Cold Outside, a Fox x Wolf fanfiction by Sindal Star. The ultimate way to keep warm on a cold night. A short Fox Wolf fanfic. Love. Fluff stuff. Fluff slash? Oh, never heard of that. Some lemon too, so be warned of man sex. Enjoy. I do not own Star Fox or its characters. This is sex involved. Please leave now if this doesn't make you wet down under. When It's Cold Outside by Sindal. You want marshmallows? Wolf yelled from the kitchen. Oh, I immediately think of A Fox in Space, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I really suggest you go check that out right now. That would be A Fox in Space. Like, that's what the user's called. That's what the series is called, because Nintendo won't let them call it Star Fox. There's one episode out so far. Episode 2 is on its way, slowly but surely. Like, this man is doing a lot of work. Like, he's doing absolutely everything. And between episode 2 of this and Has Been Hotel, I'm gonna say that's better. I really want that, because it's just like nothing I've ever seen before. I got distracted. Let's get back onto this. You want marshmallows? Wolf yelled from the kitchen. Yeah, a voice bellowed back. Wolf grumbled quietly and rummaged through cabinets, eventually locating the marshmallow bag, taking a few small ones out and dipping it a mug of warm, steaming hot chocolate. He watched them coat and brown for a second before stashing everything he had used seconds ago. Not very neatly, mind you, and held 2 mugs in his paws, making the prayer you always silently and subconsciously make before handling very full mugs of beverages. He patted his way out of the kitchen and into the living room. To his surprise, however, Fox wasn't there. Wolf scanned the room curiously. Fox? Bedroom. Setting on yet another perilous journey with 2 burning cups of the lupine. Lupine? Never seen that word before. Setting on yet another perilous journey with the 2 burning cups, the lupine carefully made his way into the bedroom door, sliding open shut behind him in a barely audible mechanical swish. Fox sat on their bed, with his knees hiked up against his chest, staring outside a window. Wolf placed the chocolate hellfire mugs on his pedestal and looked out the window himself. Sure is coming down hard out there, Fox said suddenly. Wolf's purple eyes met Snow in their gaze and walked closer to get a proper view. Snow had covered the ground fully. How tall it was, Wolf could not tell, but considering it has been snowing non-stop, both lightly and heavily, went into the 3rd day, he assumed there was a considerable amount. It looked like someone had thrown frozen milk all over the place, randomly citizens trudging through here and there. Was Wolf's distracted reply. Fox eyed the 2 mugs of hot chocolate with childish fascination. God, it is cold, he muttered, a shiver chilling through his bushy tail, letting it wrap itself in an addition layer over his legs. One would think that all that for a fellow wouldn't get cold, but they still did. The lupine... What the fuck is a Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Lupine. A plant of the pea family with deeply divided leaves, tall, colorful tapering spikes of flowers. Okay, so it's like purple? What? Lupine pet? Best dog collars, leashes, cat collars, and pet gear on the market? Lupinus? Alright. It's a plant. It's a plant. It's purple. Wolf isn't purple. He's not. He's also not a flower. So that doesn't really check out. Let's jump back in. The lupine looked back for a second and then out the window again as if something interesting was happening on the sidewalk. Is the heater on? He asked. Fox tilted his head to a small control panel for the temperature of the apartment. No, he replied simply. Then turn it on, Wolf said a bit gruffly. No, Fox said again. Why the hell not? Wolf spun around and slowly to face his boyfriend. If you're cold and all. Fox shook his head for effect and buried his snout at his knees. Too cold to move. I think it's worth mentioning that they used the wrong effect. Effect as in, like, tools and shit that you keep on your person. That would be an effect, with an A. Wolf grumbled very softly, but mentally shrugged and patted over. He was getting cold, too, after all, and figuring things wouldn't change if he had some short-term squabble over who would turn the heater on seemed stupid. If he just turned on the heater, I actually didn't have enough breath for all of that. Damn, Fox always knew how to manipulate him in ways he never thought possible. Even his mind accepted it. The lupine, there's that word again, gently waves his paw over the console, it flashing to life and showing holographic displays. Another wave adjusted the temperature dial from below, that's dial in quotes there, from the blue over to the reddish orange. Behind him, Wolf heard an eventual soft sigh of content from Fox. Said Fox, sprawled backward onto the what? Behind him, Wolf heard an eventual soft sigh of the content from Fox. What? Hold on, one more time. Behind him, Wolf heard an eventual soft sigh of content from Fox. Said Fox, sprawled backward onto the bed and continued to look out the window. He forgot to put the dialogue right there. He skipped it. Said Fox, sprawled backward on their bed and continued to look out the window as if finding that same interesting thing Wolf had found. Wolf found this adorable and reached the edge of the bed looking down at Fox, who looked upside down at him. Better? Mm-hmm. Fox nodded and eyed the mug again. Hand me my cocoa. What's with you ordering me around today? Wolf smirked softly at the bossy Vulpine. Okay, here we got another word. Vulpine. Vulpine. What do we got here? Relating to fox or foxes. Okay, that checks out. Crafty or cunning. Okay. Lupine. Wolf. No, still a plant of the pea family. Okay, I tried. I gave it a shot. Wolf smirked softly at the bossy Vulpine, having to walk around the bed and get the mug, only to walk right back around and hand him the mug. They each had a special mug. Fox's had, "I won, get over it," written on it. Interestingly enough, Wolf's had a teddy bear holding a heart. This was just to confuse people who visited on occasion, thinking the teddy bear was Fox's. They thought it was funny. Fox sat up with a small huff and leaned against the headboard. His muzzle dipped down and bobbed for marshmallows, successfully capturing one between his teeth and nomming it triumphantly. Wolf watched this spectacle with a grin and kicked his shoes off hastily, climbing onto the bed, predator style. How did he pad in wearing shoes? Furries, get your shit together. Wolf watched this spectacle with a grin and kicked his shoes off hastily, climbing onto the bed predator style. He joined Fox's side, reached for his own mug, and sipping it, the contents loudly. Guys, I'm reading this word for word. If it sounds like I'm reading it fucking weird, 9 times out of 10, it's just written that way, I promise. After taking a long drink of the warm liquid and murmuring softly at the warmth spreading to his tummy, Fox put the mug aside and leaned his head against Wolf's chest, something he did so often Wolf had stopped questioning the act completely. Wolf glanced down and suppressed a chuckle. It showed. What? Fox raised a brow. Your muzzle is brown. Fox looked cross-eyed down at his muzzle, but obviously didn't see anything. Wolf himself settled the cup down to the side seconds later. The vulpine looked up, prepared to make a remark on how Wolf's muzzle looked instead, but it was cut short. There had only been a small trace of it, but Fox watched with focused eyes as Wolf licked his lips slowly, cleaning the chocolatey goodness off with a satisfied jaw chop. Their eyes locked all the way through this process. You're doing it on purpose, aren't you? Doing what? Wolf asked with a sneaky grin. Making the way you licking your lips look sexy. Maybe. Wolf paw moved down to stroke the white fur along Fox's head. Why, got you thinking? Fox tilted his head upward and placed a finger to his furry cheek. Lick mine. This obviously being the response Wolf was hoping for, placed his paw at the other's hips and steered him onto his lap. Fox fidgeted a little to get a comfortable seat, unknowingly the cause of a deep murr from the larger canine. Deep murr? What is a murr? I'm learning all sorts of shit today. Peapods relating to foxes. Murr. What does murr mean? Is murr a word? I like that. Yeah, it is. Colloquial furry fandom. A purr produced by any animal. Yeah, okay, so a purr produced by any animal. Generally something in, wait, here I can find out. Yeah, murr is a valid Scrabble word. Okay, so yeah, a murr is a real word, just heavily used in the furry fandom. Fox looked up and saw a familiar hunter glint in Wolf's one good eye. He'd always seen it when they were out in space dogfights, but knowing this glint was the same as that one Fox, wondered just what Wolf was thinking whenever he came after Fox. A strong paw held Fox's head back and forcibly inched their muzzles together. Wolf licked around Fox's muzzle as if some kind of foreplay, the tip of it dipped in brown chocolate. Wolf had more than enough to lick off and wasted no time lapping the outer edges of the brown stain. But as they came closer, to the middle of his tongue slowed more and more until it brushed the short whiskers and danced around the lip. His ears pricked up in delight in hearing Fox murr so close to him, and seconds later, consumed him. Okay, cool. You know, if there's one thing I love in my fanfiction, it's a little bit of vor. Yeah, I should probably remove that. Fox leaned in obediently, pressing his lips against Wolf and closed his eyes contently, parting the folds. Wolf smirked at this and dug his tongue inside, rubbing and sucking against the vulpine's tug dominantly. He held Fox's chin in a paw and tilted it slightly, letting him kiss deeper. His paws snuck down Fox's back and scratched along it soothingly. No struggle today, Wolf said, letting go for a brief moment. It's cold, you're warm, do the math, Fox replied hastily. Wolf bit down another chuckle and wrapped his arms around Fox's waist. Leaning in, resuming their lip lock, Fox's paws rested on Wolf's chest. The only noise in the room was the almost silent mechanical buzz of the heater and their wet kisses one after the other. It occurred to Wolf how much clothes they were wearing. You know, sometimes I wonder that too. Immediate thoughts to remedy this problem rushed through his mind. The first act was rolling over and pressing Fox against the headboard, a grunt from the effort. The second was the ruffling sound of a jersey being lifted over the head and the undershirt following, exposing the bare Fox chest, which, if everything is alright, should not be bare because it's covered in fur. His paws trailed down quickly and toyed with the button of the jeans, loosening and quickly pulling them down, throwing the articles of clothes behind Fox onto the ground. His own clothes followed quickly, making a scattered pile. Wolf smirked, a dangerous glint in his eye as his paws circled around Fox's waist, pulling him closer and nibbled on the vulpine's neck. Said vulpine arched his head back, exposing more area to Wolf's sweet lips. A low, steady murring came from Fox. He sure does like that word, doesn't he? ears flattening down and eyes closing to heighten his other sentence. Fuck, that's my bad. To heighten his other senses, the sense of touch the most. Wolf's paw slid in the waist of Fox's underwear, a black thong on request, chuckling as he looked down at it. Damn it, Fox, you really picked the right day to spoil me. A tent standing out against the underwear. When the lupine made a motion. A tent. That's a fucking amazing word. Got a little tent down there, huh? When the lupine made a motion them down, though, Fox fidgeted. Wolf gave Fox a questioning stare, and Fox whispered, "Cold, under the covers." No sooner he had spoken, their blanket was pulled open, placed over them. This is starting to get very clumsily written at this point, because usually when writers get to this point in the sex scenes, they're generally typing with one hand, if you understand what I'm saying here. Wolf's body pressed completely against Fox, the blanket resting on his shoulders as he pressed Fox against the headboard. With no more interruptions, Wolf growled and quickly slipped the thong off, his own boxes following the scattering underneath the covers, forgotten. What was that sentence? Did I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllables? Let me go back through that. Wolf growled and quickly slipped the thong off, his own boxes following and scattering under the covers. Forgotten. Oh, there's just a missing comma. Okay. Fox opened his eyes again and stared into Wolf's. They were feral and lustful. Wait, he's only got one. Nah, fucking forget it. They were feral and lustful, but caring. He smiled as his back slid down onto the bed from the need for Wolf to be completely over him. Wolf's stronger frame loomed over him and smirked down at him. Fox gasped sharply and moaned as Wolf's paw grabbed his member, slowly stroking it against his paw pads. He bucked with the need into Wolf's paw, whimpering very softly. It didn't take much for Fox to get completely hard, yet Wolf kept stroking him in that slow way. "Babe, don't tease me like that," Fox said, bucking again. "Shh," Wolf whispered as his muzzle descended onto Fox's chest, lapping around the pectoral curves and nipples, biting into the fleshy knobs. Fox's knobs, I think. Knobs? Knobs. Fleshy knobs. Oh, it's sinking in. Oh, it's great. Flesh knob. It sounds like a dick word. I understand they're talking about nips, but it really just doesn't feel like it. Fox's gentle moans were music to his ears as he steadily pawed himself under the covers with his other paw. He was already hard. He just wanted to be rock hard. Torturing Fox gave him a thrill of delight. The lupine moved a bit off his lover and searched his pedestal. "Now where did I put that?" Wolf mumbled. Enough, though. He knew exactly what he was looking for. He grinned almost sheepishly as he grabbed for bottle. With barrel roll written on it. Whatever. I'm never going to think the same thing again if you pull one of these in space again. Fox giggled and then murred as he felt Wolf's digit stroking his tail hole tenderly, smoothing the cool lube inside and out. Why is it called barrel roll, though? Or did they write barrel roll on it? I get it. I get what they were trying to do. I'm ashamed to admit it still worked on me, even if it didn't make much sense. He bit down on his lip and looked down, feeling Wolf's paw steer his legs out of the way, and shivered as he felt the tip of his member brush against the tail hole. He yipped as it forced its way inside. There you have it. That's what the fox says. The vulpine turned his head to the side and tried mostly in vain to relax his muscles. Over him, Wolf growled in lust, shifting closer and holding Fox down with a paw, the other holding his cock as he shoved it in. Fox grunted and Wolf asked, "You okay down there?" "Yeah, I'm just a little tight." That's not little tight. Lil tight. One of them up and coming SoundCloud rappers, no doubt. Yeah, I'm just a little tight. You haven't taken me in a couple days, Fox replied quietly, his legs wrapped around Wolf's waist and pulled them closer. Hasn't stopped me before and it won't stop me now. Wolf smiling lovingly down at his boyfriend. God damn it, I love you, Fox. His last words before he engulfed the vulpine in his passion. He captured the other's lips and held them hostage, while down below was the same situation. His tongue slipped inside Fox's maw and lapped against his tongue, rubbing and sucking on it. Slowly, Wolf's hips withdrew and bucked inside of Fox, the tight wetness making him moan against Fox's tongue. Fox submitted fully and kissed back to the best of his ability. His arms sprawled to their sides on the bed. His eyes closed completely and his lips parted and open for invasion. It wasn't always that Fox submitted so easily, but Fox didn't have the energy nor will to fight his desire. Wolf noticed this change too, but he didn't complain. The complete surrender of Fox McCloud was something he always wanted, whether on the battlefield or in bed. It gave him a thrill through his body. He grunted and started pacing himself with his thrusts, each one stretching Fox out deeper. He moaned and let the kiss go, choosing to nibble on a nipple instead. Fox moaned, his thighs tightening slightly around Wolf's waist and rubbing them along his flanks. They pulled Wolf in, forcing him just that bit deeper with each thrust. He grunted at the odd thrust. What's the odd thrust? Should I go back? Actually, no. Must press on. A thin red coating on his orange cheeks. Fuck. So tight, Wolf growled and hissed in pleasure, his cock humping at a steadier pace now. His balls slapped and spanked. His balls slapped and spanked Fox's rump. His member dug in Fox's ass, sliding against the inner walls and moaning as the ripples of pleasure shot out. He looked down at Fox's face, the cute expression and the blush. He looked beautiful, Fox whimpered in pleasure, making sounds of ecstasy. His paws clenched gently onto the bed, his hips turned a bit to an angle for easier access. Below, his hard member rubbed up and down against Wolf's belly. Wolf panted with his tongue out. His and Fox's musk had merged to make a heavenly, intoxicating smell that drugged his head. His thoughts were clouded by his desire to mate, and all his attention focused on Fox pleasuring him. His cock pulsed and throbbed inside of Fox, pre-dripping from the slit. His hips worked on automatic, taking no break as it humped up Fox's tail hole and ravaged it completely. Each hump was like a splash of pleasure over the both of them. Ugh, yeah, harder, Fox moaned louder. He shivered and that felt really weird. Oh god, I mean, I've been being pretty fucking weird about this, but something about that last line just really got to me. Not forming a tent, mind you, but... Okay, Fox moaned louder. He shivered and writhed under Wolf. His body arched into Wolf as his senses dulled. His balls ached softly, and his cock twitched in delight, threatening to burst at any second. He clenched around the member, invading him each time it hit home. Wolf panted heavily now, putting his all into the moment. He pounded his cock as deep as they would go into Fox's warm rump. Alright, I've read the word rump quite a few times now, and it always takes me back to this. I had equine therapy as a kid, and it honestly, there's no other person I knew that would use the word rump when referring to an ass. And anytime she would refer to the horse's ass, she would call it the horse's rump. It's certainly a kid-friendly ass word. I mean, you know. But in context here, no matter what the context is, I hear the word rump, I'm gonna think of a horse's ass. He pounded his cock as deep as they would go into Fox's warm rump, working to hit his prostate over and over. He could feel the seed in his ball sack get heavy already. Knees weak. Mom spaghetti. He fought the urge down, clenched his teeth, curled his toes, and leaned his head back. He did all he could to savor the moment. Yeah, I knew it. That's not how savor is spelled. So let me reread that, as it really is. He did all he could to savor the moment. He reached down and grasped Fox's member in his paw, stroking it in place with his bucks. Crying out in pleasure, Fox clutched the bet tighter in his grip. What is the bet? What is the bet? Is that a dick word? Tell me in the comments. His teeth gritted together as he felt the second pleasure waves accompany the first, his climax approaching faster than ever before. Together, the lupine nodded and performed his final thrusts, slamming inside the hole roughly. They breathed hard and fast, sucking up oxygen desperately for their climax. Their bodies heated up at the motions and friction between them. Wolf was the first to go. His final thrust struck home and he howled out in ecstasy, his warm, sticky seed bursting from his cock inside of Fox. It coated his insides and painted it white. Wow, that takes me back to a story that I won't be telling on here. A second late, Fox shouted as he climaxed, ropes of his seed spurting onto his belly fur and chest mixing with the orange. It was a hard orgasm. They both shook as they subsided. Wolf collapsed down onto his lover, his chest partly getting coating in Fox's cum. They panted together, quietly bathing in their own and each other's afterglow. Fox opened the microwave and retrieved 2 mugs of cocoa. They'd gotten cold, for obvious reasons. In only his undies, he hurried and pranced back to the bedroom. Wolf was lying under the covers and shot him a loving smile. Opening the covers, Fox ducked under them quickly and handed Wolf his mug. The two of them cuddled close together, Wolf spooning Fox, and stared out that same window. Their cheeks pressed together as they heard each other breathe. They heard each other breath, down to every single heartbeat in their chest. Wolf's spare paw was wrapped around okay. Spare paw, not like left or right, spare. Just this. Wolf's spare paw was wrapped around and rested on Fox's chest, where it stroked and gently scratched. Fox's paw came up and placed it on Wolf's, holding it against his chest, warmth spreading through. Sing me that song. What song? That winter song. Wolf chuckled softly and put the cocoa aside again. It was empty anyway. He leaned his maw close to Fox's ear and gave it a tender lick that made Fox shiver and gently sung, "When it's cold outside, there's no need to worry, 'cause I'm so warm inside. You give me peace." Peace like, peace is something. Not like, give peace a chance. "When the storm's outside, 'cause we're in love, I know. It'll be alright. Alright, it's alright." End. Alright, hey, thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate this. I really, really do. So, tune back in next time. By the way, Dead Hands Entertainment is gonna be going again soon, because I got my own recording equipment, which means no matter where Habibi goes or where I go, we can record at each other's houses, and it's not a big deal at all. Oh boy, okay, you made it this far. I'm gonna go ahead and bring attention to something that I probably shouldn't. Okay, so everybody I ever get in an argument with online seems to pull the "you're an incel" card, which makes absolutely no sense, because my fiance is in some of my videos. Like, don't believe me, you can go check it out. Just go back in my videos. Let's see if I can point out a couple of times. One, I've had a female guest on the show before. On top of that, my fiance is in The Man from Offer Up and Jerry the Cat, when I read my shitty story after many, many years. not the first one where it's just me reading it, but the second one, the where I revisited the story. So if you want to call me an incel, I mean, just know that it's a very baseless claim. So go ahead, keep that in mind. Aside from that, I don't think I have anything else to bring attention to. But man, some people, I feel like I just gotta make a Pornhub account and then link them to it or something. I'm not ever gonna do that, thankfully. Okay, thanks again, guys. I really appreciate you listening to this story. Catch you later.